Hi, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Global Market Perspectives. I can't tell you how excited I am to finally get this out into the world. This has been brewing for a while, and it feels really good to hit record and to finally share it with you all. I'm Brett Lofthouse, and I'm the founder of Stanley Cowton International, or SCI for short. Here's the thing. Every day, I get to talk to leaders, hiring managers, and candidates across the globe who are shaping the future of the GMP and chemical industries. These are conversations that aren't tame. They're brutally honest, they're challenging, they're full of the stuff that doesn't always make the public sphere. So, I thought, why keep this? Why keep these conversations behind closed doors? I think that, within this podcast, what we will try to do is get these conversations, get them out into the open, share the ideas, the struggles, the breakthroughs that are really driving change within our industries. My hope is that you think differently, you question things, maybe even spark some changes of your own. So I guess why do I want to do this? Well, look, let me just give you a quick step back in time here, just a little bit of context about who I am and where all of this started. So I spent most of my career in recruitment, actually, and I've seen it from every angle. I've seen the highs, I've seen the lows, and I've seen the parts that desperately need changes. Um, and I didn't actually envision myself getting into recruitment at all. I'm from Bradford. That's where I was born and raised. And for those of you across the globe who don't know where Bradford is, it's a city in West Yorkshire, in the north of England. I grew up in a working class family. And initially, I had pursued a completely different industry. So I worked as a carpenter. But I left that in 2008, actually, in a financial crash. And I decided on recruitment. I saw it as a great opportunity, something that I thought I'd be good at, where I could connect with people more. And to be honest, it looked like something that I could really succeed at and enjoy. And to be frank, the earning potential didn't hurt either. You have to understand, I didn't grow up in from a wealthy background or an incredibly privileged background, but we did learn how to work hard, how to put your mind to certain things, and how to fight to achieve your goals. So I decided to take this leap into recruitment. And I've worked for three of recruitment businesses in the past, over 15 years. I started as a recruitment consultant, and I worked my way up to a director of a business unit, which was quite the ride, and quite the learning experience. And it wasn't always easy. But what I did realize is that I had a knack for it. But like it with any career journey, it wasn't a straight line. After about 8 years, I realized I was struggling actually with a bit of a lifestyle of recruitment. Not so much the work itself, but the lifestyle outside of the office. So, just to set the precedent for this podcast, it really is about truthful, challenging conversations as well as pushing the boundaries. So, I'll admit here, this was a difficult time for me actually, and I struggled with alcohol. And to give credit where credit's due, I had some good people around me that pushed me in the right direction, gave me clarity, gave me focus, and I worked myself into a great position. But in my previous organization, as the business grew quite a lot, I realized that we'd expanded so much that certain fundamentals of why I joined the business were no longer there. So this created a conflict for me, and I wanted to take some time off. I wanted to reevaluate. So I spent a few months away from recruitment. I moved back to Yorkshire, where I was from, where I'd been away from for about 20 years. And I spent some time at a farm, helping the farmers while one of them overcame cancer treatment. And that really gave me a chance to breathe, to reflect, to spend time with the family, which was awesome. And through that, spending time away from the industry, I realized how much I missed the pace, the people, and the challenge. But I also knew that if I came back, it had to be on my own terms. So I made a promise that if I was going to do this again, get back into the hot seat of recruitment, that I'd do it differently. Because what I'd seen wasn't working, at least for me. The industry had become really transactional, too many people chasing numbers, and not enough based around relationships. They would make a placement, send an invoice, disappear. That is not partnership. That's short term thinking. And I didn't want SCI to be a part of that. So we flipped the model. We flipped it on its head. We decided to slow things down, to be low volume, high touch, and to really focus on understanding the people, the culture, and the real problems behind the vacancy. And then we would back it up with accountability with things like our 12-month guarantee. To me, recruitment should be more than just filling roles. It should be about building something that truly lasts. And to be honest, it wasn't easy at first. You know, we were turning down work with people or companies that didn't share our values or our visions on what a true partnership should look like. But what I learned is that when you stick to your principles, integrity, honesty, consistency, the right people find you, your tribe. And that's what we're reinventing. That's what reinventing recruitment meant for me. Not some flashy new tech or a buzzword, just bringing humanity and partnership and trust back into the process. So really, that's how Stanley Cowton International was born. It started with just me and my wife. We were building something from scratch. It was, long days, late nights, a lot of learning along the way. Then my brother Clinton joined the business. Things really started to take shape. Before long, my son Jack came on board too, and that was really one of my proudest moments. And we haven't stopped there. We continue to grow with family, friends, and ex-colleagues. Though our goal isn't to become too large that we lose the magic of what really makes us unique. It means a great deal to me in this way that we're a true family business. We're built on not just shared goals, but shared values, the trust, the loyalty, the commitment that come with family, the same principles that shape how we work with our clients and candidates every day. So it became exactly what I'd always hoped it would be, a business rooted in family, built on integrity and driven by purpose. And even the name means something deeply personal. Stanley Cowton was my granddad. He was a proud Yorkshireman and one of the hardest working, most principled people I'd ever known. He believed your word should mean something, that if you say you'll do something, you should do it every single time. And those values shaped how I live my life, and the backbone of how we run this business. He actually inspired our tagline: "Built on integrity, driven by results." That's really what this podcast, Global Market Perspectives, is all about. It's a space to talk with people who share those principles, people who are building, innovating, leading, challenging what's next in their industries. Because at the end of the day, business is about people and the conversations that move us forwards. So, look, here's a bit of what you can expect. This podcast isn't your typical polished corporate chat. If anyone knows me, they'll know that that's not me. Each episode, I'll be sitting down with people who are actually moving the needle: industry leaders, innovators, disruptors, the ones who've got skin in the game. This includes, policymakers, political figures, people who are pushing for change on a regional and global level. We'll get into their journeys, the decisions that shaped them, the mistakes they've learned from, and the challenges keeping them up at night right now. We do we don't want to shy away from the big controversial topics either. So we'll be looking at things like AI and automation, globalization versus localization, sustainability. Is that just a buzzword in the current marketplace? Tariffs. Everybody wants to talk about the tariffs. The changing face of manufacturing. HR. Do they protect the people or do they protect the company? We'll find out. Talent gaps that no one can ignore, and really many, many more impactful discussions. Nothing is off the table. No PR spin, no sugarcoating, and pardon my French, but just no bullshit. Just honest human conversation about what's really going on in the GMP and chemical industries and where we go from here. I believe the future of our industries is shaped by people. And if there's one thing I've learned from running SCI, it's that when you connect the right people, big things happen. Manufacturing sites get turned around, teams start winning again, companies innovate and grow. We've seen it, we've been a part of it. So this podcast is just another way for me to do that, to connect great people and share ideas on a larger scale. So here's my call to action. Here's what I'd love from you. I would love if you could subscribe on YouTube, follow us on LinkedIn, so you do not miss an episode. If you could share this with a colleague or a friend that cares about building great teams and driving the industry forward, that would be much appreciated. Or just somebody who wants to hear great conversation, if I do say so myself. And if you've got a story to tell, or you think there's somebody that we should interview, drop me a message on LinkedIn. So hopefully we can get more great guests onto the show. Thank you so much for joining me for this very first episode. I cannot wait to share what's coming next. Take care, everybody. Speak soon.